Church today is so not how it should be biblically. I promise you, if Jesus was to go to some of these churches, they wouldn't know who he was.
Wow.
He'd have to knock to get in. We don't talk about it, but if I'm sinning, I should feel convicted.
Every time you go.
Every time I go to church.
Or you hear a message or something.
If I am in the wrong, I should feel uncomfortable. Anyone that goes to the church and they feel comfortable in their sin is at the wrong church.
What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the For Us podcast, the podcast for you.
And for us.
How you feeling? How you living?
I'm feeling good.
You feeling good?
Yes.
We got some very one more
special guest.
Yeah. Oh, one more very special guest in the building. We're at home. We're still in our studio, you guys.
It's a little makeshift, but this actually looks really good.
Yeah, I know.
From what I can see.
I know. It's just I don't want to keep having to take it down. And
yeah, that took a while, huh?
It took a bit, but it's working. We're good. Hopefully, everything's looking right.
Yeah,
looking good. The special guest. We didn't even tell him who the special guest is.
It was a cliffhanger.
Yeah, very big cliffhanger. Yeah. Today we have none other than my parents. This is my dad. You guys have seen my dad on the channel before, but I don't think you
back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah. Wow. But I don't think you guys have ever seen my bonus mom. We've spoken about her, but this is Liz. Hi, Liz.
Hi.
Welcome. Welcome. You guys know they live here in Oregon with us and with us. We'll talk about it. We talked about it on the podcast before, but they came here first, and now we're here. And thank you guys for being on the podcast. You guys, my dad is also a pastor. He pastors a church out here in Portland, and he has. I've been a PK my entire life for the most part, and this is it's just so crazy that you're here in Portland, where Savannah was born and raised, and you're pastoring a church, literally in Portland. We talk about this; it literally could have been anywhere.
It could have been like anywhere in the U.S.
Right?
Out of all,
or even
states.
Somewhere in Oregon. Right.
It could have been anywhere in Oregon, but literally like 15 minutes from where I grew up.
Yeah. So, that's the whole spiel. This episode, we're going to talk about everything. Marriage. We're going to talk about, you guys sent in some really good questions that you guys were curious about, with pastors and ministry. And this is the perfect episode
perfect people to answer.
The perfect people to answer those questions.
Because I feel like we've talked about like church and things a little bit.
You guys really liked it too.
Yeah, on the podcast, but I feel like you guys are the perfect candidates for this.
Thank you.
Yes.
Excited to be here. For sure.
So where do we want to start? How did you guys meet? Savannah doesn't know the story.
Yeah, I don't.
How long have you guys been married?
14
years.
14 years?
Wow.
Yep.
And how did you guys meet? Where did you guys meet?
We met at church.
Okay. Wow.
We met at church.
Wow, that's ironic. Okay.
That's
all right.
sweet.
We met at church. So I was over security at my godfather's church, and her church was coming to. They were the guest church that particular night, and I see this woman walking across the street carrying a bass. I'm like, oh, female bass player, and she's cute.
Wow.
Yeah. So she comes in and then she plays like she can actually play. And Josh, like somebody playing's like, play boy.
Right.
I'm like, play girl. So we kept making eye contact. And the Lord moved upon my heart. And I text the worship leader during service. It was a high moment. So I knew it was God during service. I said, who is the bass player? And he said who she was. And I asked, was she single? He said she's fully single.
Wow.
Yeah. And we met that night. And yeah.
Okay, wait, you walked up to her?
Yeah. So I walked up, right?
Okay.
And he introduced us. And she thought that I was going to be some foreign because of my name, right? Rodriguez. So she's like, who's this guy? Whatever.
Yeah.
So we're there and we meet. Now, here's what's crazy. You and Remington walked up the night I met her.
We walked up where?
Like on the side of me, right next to me.
I met you guys that night.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
How old were you?
Yeah, how old was I?
So 14 years ago now.
Oh, yeah, 14.
I think at the time. Well, no, it was 15 years now.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm 27 now.
Yeah, so that's 15 years.
So you were 12, right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm
just saying, because,
I don't know. Somewhere in that age.
Yes.
And you guys were never a part of my dating scene. Not that I had a dating scene.
Right.
I'm just saying, like,
Amen.
right?
Amen.
I'm just right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So for them to have met her that night, for you guys to have met her that night, it was like, wow, okay, this is dope. So we met, and
They were so
I walked
cute.
her out to the car, and we exchanged numbers. And at 10:25, I text her. I'll never forget. I said, "Is it past your curfew?" She says, "I have 5 minutes." I'm like, "Okay."
Wow.
Sense of humor.
Sense of humor.
That's
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so we talked. We
Smooth.
met that night, and we talked for like 2.5 hours that night. 2.5 hours,
Wow.
and I knew that night that I was going to marry her.
No way.
Hand to God. That
Liz,
night I knew.
did you know or not yet?
No.
Really?
I knew there was something about him on our first date.
Okay.
Because I
was it?
remember feeling like, well, first when I met Josh and Rem, I thought they were twins.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, they're so cute.
yeah.
And I was kind of overwhelmed because I never imagined dating someone with children.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, he seems nice, but I don't know if I
Right.
can handle that.
Right.
Wow.
Because I gave her my whole life that night.
Yeah,
Right.
on
You
the
said
phone,
everything.
He told me
was
everything.
No holds bar.
Wow.
You know, love me or leave me at that moment, right?
I love
and
that.
I just kind of gave her everything. Like, yo, I'm single father, 3 kids, had my first child, 15, yada, yada, yada. Now you take that and marinate on it.
Right. This is all of me.
Yeah, you know,
That's
yeah.
it.
That was
I love
it,
that.
really.
But I remember our first date. I remember feeling like he was an old friend, just like so comfortable and like safe.
Yeah.
And
Did you
that-
laugh?
No,
old friend.
no, like a
I know what
like
you mean.
a-
Old.
I know what you
like
mean.
a
Not
friend
friends,
that I
yeah.
had known forever.
Like
got
you're-
it.
it's
She
someone-
zoned me like for real.
No,
an
no.
old friend. Old.
Right, you're old and you're just a friend.
My goodness, that would have been it.
But I remember dating and never feeling like that with guys. I always knew right away, like, nope, he's
It's
not
not
the
right.
one.
Yeah.
Buster.
And with him, it was like, okay, we can hang out. He
Yeah.
could be a good friend.
Right.
And so I knew there was something different.
What was it?
You guys are the same, first of all.
Why?
You saying, yeah, let me hear what that is you.
What was it? Tell me what it was. Yeah, why? I don't know. I know you said,
It was
you know.
you, honey.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a
It was
lot.
me, right? Yeah. Okay, it was me. All right.
Wow. So 14 years later.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, okay. What was your first impression when you saw Dad? No words. You saw, because you guys made eye contact. Wow.
Yeah, several.
Several.
There were several moments during the service. Tell them, they want to know. I want to know.
I don't know. What
Inquiring minds want to know.
I wondered why you were staring at me.
Nice. Right.
I had never seen a female bass player.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a
That
second.
is cool.
Okay, when
part.
we say that Liz plays bass, she
Legit
plays
plays
bass.
bass.
I
Like
used to play.
no,
I'm
like
rusty.
Whatever.
legit plays bass.
That
Like
is cool.
Can play.
can play at church, and y'all. And
Yeah.
if you know, you go to church. Like
Yeah.
church bass players, they just don't throw anybody up there.
No, they don't.
But so that's when we're saying like plays bass. She's not up there like when I was a kid. They would have me playing the drums, but I would only play like for offering, and only for like 20 seconds. Yeah, it's not that.
It's not over, but you know, it's
Yeah.
over for you. It's not.
So yeah, you never seen a bass player.
I had never seen a bass player and a female bass player. Like
Right.
Like good looking, could actually play. Right.
That's
And
wild.
That was really like, man, I was mesmerized by that. Real talk.
That's really cool. I feel like that's
And
kind of
here's what's so cool. Just to show you guys that it wasn't all physical.
Okay.
She had the ugliest
Wow.
uniform.
This is 14 years of marriage.
They had to wear a uniform. So she had this ugly red blouse on and this ugly black church skirt on.
Wow.
And I didn't see that night.
Yeah.
You know, I thought, yeah, it was a situation that I thought I was gonna have to deliver her from, right?
Wearing that.
Wearing that, right? But then that Sunday she came back by the church, and I think I met your mom at that point, right? Yeah. Oh, no, it was a couple weeks later.
Met them out 2 weeks later.
I think 2 weeks
in
later,
person.
yeah, in
Like
person.
wow. Well, was FaceTime a thing back?
No.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, we didn't mean to make
know.
Hey, I didn't mean to say back then like
back
that.
in the day.
Yeah, it was black and white, actually. Side note, they would always ask, Rim would always say, Dad, when you were a kid, was the world black and white?
That's crazy.
I used to think that.
Oh wow!
I
I,
used to think
think
the
it's a
same.
younger sibling thing.
Okay,
because you and Remington have a lot of
Yeah, we have a lot in common. We
A
like
lot
to
in-
whip our pancakes with our hands. And
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she came to church that Sunday.
That's funny.
Came by. It was after service. She came by, and she was dressed, different. She was. Yeah, she
I
actually
had
some-
my own clothes on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my own
You
clothes.
were
She had her own
in
clothes on,
uniform.
and she was looking good. I'm like, wow, this was behind that uniform.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, we just kind of grew from that point, man.
Wow.
I think 6 months later, she asked me to marry her, and I said yes.
Why?
They asked me
That's
to tell a story.
wild.
You were hesitant, so that's my version.
That's
No.
funny.
But I remember for our 1-year wedding anniversary, I gave him that outfit
That
for
outfit,
Christmas.
yeah, that was
That's
funny.
red shirt.
That's
That
so
was
funny. I did not know that.
Yes.
Hilarious.
That's really funny.
That's like similar to our story a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like how we like met both kind of like in our element, like
Yeah.
doing our thing.
Yeah.
Like that's very similar.
Yeah. Wow. So
But
Dad.
we didn't talk that.
Yeah. Well, we didn't talk that day. We
We were
found each
too
other on
nervous to
social
talk to
media
each other.
after
Who slid
the
where?
class. Huh?
Who slid and who's DM?
I
slid
slid
in
in
my
her DMs. Yeah. But she gave me her number though.
Yeah.
So without me asking, I didn't ask. She just offered
did.
the number,
Yeah, I
which
offered.
is I'll take that to the grave. But okay, so Liz, what were you doing career wise, like for your job? And Dad, you can explain too for the people. I know what you were doing, but like
Before we got married.
when you guys first
When you
met.
met.
Yeah, when you met, and then
So I was a medical secretary.
okay,
What was I?
You were office manager. What do you mean?
what was I?
I was like a secretary and kind of the assistant to the
That's your
doctor.
dad,
To the doctor.
My
Okay,
uncle was
yeah.
the doctor.
Oh wow.
And so and then I was trying to be a full-time musician.
Like working in ministry or just in
Yes,
general?
in ministry.
Yeah.
Like just I wanted to do music full-time.
Okay.
So singing, instruments, just
Yeah.
trying to develop that.
And when she says instruments, she also plays the violin
Yes.
very well.
Yeah.
We're just gonna brag, but very well.
Basically.
Okay, so you were doing that, and then Dad, you were in ministry.
I was in ministry. Yeah. I was an itinerant minister. I was traveling.
Okay.
And I was working at Chrysler. I did quality control for Chrysler.
Yes.
Single father.
Yep.
Right. So there's a lot going on. And here's what's crazy. I wasn't looking for a wife.
Wow.
That's what made it so interesting that night we met. I wasn't looking for a wife. I was content with the triangle. Us three. Right?
Yeah.
It was never a moment where I thought, man, I gotta get married, and you would have, and we can talk about it maybe a little further.
Yeah.
But in ministry, being a single minister, others would demonize that. Like you need to hurry and get married because, God can't use you if you're single.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, so it's foolishness. So had I succumbed to that pressure, I probably wouldn't have met her.
Wow.
Right.
So it's but yeah, that's where I was. I was itinerant minister, and I actually put that on pause. So that's pretty much what I was doing. Traveling and then Chrysler, just doing life.
Yeah.
Being a dad.
Yeah.
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 And I think what's interesting is we both had come to a point where we were good being single.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think you're not ready to meet that person until you're good with you.
Right. That's great.
We've said that
Yeah, we have.
so much.
Yeah.
Because we had a similar situation. I feel like we were both, like we weren't looking, well, obviously, I don't think either of us were really thinking about marriage at the time. I
No.
mean, maybe we were, but
Yeah.
like,
Future line
yeah,
down the
but
line.
we weren't like looking to like really date or like find a serious relationship
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
There was no urgency.
Yeah.
You guys counsel a lot of people in marriage and stuff like that. You've done some of our marriage counseling and things, and I think you guys are probably doing it now still or whatever. What is the number one, and you don't have to share people's business or whatever, but like what is the common denominator you're seeing in relationships, whether it's dating, engaged, marriage? What is that, and what is the advice that you give to them?
I would say before you get married, have your identity in Christ grounded. Because I feel like one of the things that constantly draws us to each other is that our purpose is united. And I think when your marriage goes through ups and downs, your purpose can keep you like anchored.
That's really good.
That's good.
If your purposes are on two different ends of the spectrum, it's eventually going to pull you apart.
Right.
That's real good.
Yeah.
Some of the things I've seen kind of lines up with that, the identity crises that people go through, right? They don't know who they are. And they have been pressured to get married to where they didn't enjoy their singleness, you know? And again, I think church has done a disservice, you know, to the singles, because the end all is not marriage, you know, for singles. That shouldn't be the end all, but that's the pressure. So I hear a lot of, I got to get married, and they miss the present, the gift, to get to the future. So the advice I've given has been really know who you are, know whose you are, right? And lean into that more. Become comfortable in your state as a single person, engaged, and being married, you know, when they have not identified where they are in life, it spills over to marriage. And then there's a lot of things that kind of comes to the surface, being selfish, right? Self-absorbed and such. I have a philosophy. Before there can be a we, there's got to be a me. Before I can get married, before I can help anyone, I've got to be healthy.
Great.
You know, so those are kind of the advices. It's one of the things that I give, you know, often. And we really just kind of feed off one another when we're doing those counseling sessions. And it's been so interesting if we're counseling couples, if she's talking to the wife or the fiance, and I'm talking to the male, the husband or future husband, when they come together, when she and I come together, we pretty much given the same counsel.
That's good.
Yeah,
Wow.
given the same counsel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's really cool.
I like what you were saying about working on yourself.
Yep.
We often tell couples it's not 50-50. Nope. It's 100-100.
Great.
If you come in with 50, you know, you have to come in as a whole person.
Right.
And that's what makes it good.
And no one completes you.
Good.
Yes. Yeah.
They complement you.
Yes.
Right? So we bring our giftings, we bring what we have to the table. And sometimes some people bring the table, right? But we bring in something. Yeah. If it's just an appetite to eat at the table, we're bringing something.
Yeah.
But I think so many times we miss that part of complimenting versus completing. Only Christ completes.
Great.
You know?
Yeah. That's so good. To piggyback off of what you were saying, Liz, with the 100-100, one thing that we've been like adopting, I'm pretty sure it's common with everyone, but there could be days where Savannah is 30 and I can,
so good,
you know, help out with that 70 or whatever, or vice versa. If I'm feeling 20 that day and Savannah,
I got you.
Savannah got it or whatever. And I think that that has been just huge for us. And I think that should be a encouragement for all couples and even just like friendships and things like that too. Any relationships all across the board. If you're seeing that your friend is just down, or one of your parents, or like anything, and pick it up for them. You know, do that 80 if they're 20 for them or whatever. But that's I don't know where that came from, but that was just what I was thinking about with
really
that.
Don't get in a pit with me.
Right.
Pull me out of the pit.
Great.
Don't just, you know, lick my wounds with me. Pull me out of the pit.
Yeah.
You know, I have a friend, one of my best friends, solid guy. I went through a season where I was in the pit, and I just, you know, share it with him, and he sat there and allowed me to lament, if you will. And he says, "Are you done?" I'm like, what? He said, "Are you done?" I said, "I guess." And from that, he just kind of start pouring into me, like, free yourself, man. You know, at the end of the day, you have to live, you know? So yeah, it's definitely to what you said, Josh, the whole relationship, not just marriage, but in relationships, because that's what makes a wholesome, solid relationship, is being able to rock with you, pour you. And if you don't have the energy, the 20, the other 80 or whatnot, you know, so
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we live off that as well.
That's good.
We really do.
Okay, what was your first impression on me and Remington?
I thought you guys were adorable.
Okay.
I did. I thought you were twins.
Okay.
And
what is your this can't be a first impression, but what are your thoughts? Give an insight to our home when we were in middle school and high school. Whatever, you can say whatever you want. I just like from your point of view.
How about elementary?
When we started dating, we were getting serious, and then Dad got put on a different shift.
Yeah, it was like right when we would go to school.
Yeah, and he asked me to take you guys to school every day.
I remember.
And so, like, I would pick you up, and you guys were so cute. You'd be quiet, like, you know. I'd be like, "Good morning," and they'd get in the car and just "Good morning." And I noticed as the months went on, I'd stop sometimes and get you McDonald's.
I was gonna say you're leaving out a key important piece. Me and Remington, we would literally get in the car sniffing if we smelled McDonald's. We were like, "Do we get McDonald's biscuit?" You got us like a bit. I don't even know. You didn't even know what we liked. You just got like a hash brown or like a biscuit or something. We remember that every single time you would pick us up, and then when you didn't get it, we were like, "Oh, dang, yeah, oh man, she didn't do it today or whatever." But yeah, sorry, keep going. That was a very important part.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't know that.
But I remember just not wanting to intrude on your space, like giving you guys space to come into my space.
That's
as
great.
Children. And I remember one day I picked you up from school, and by the time we got to the house, you both were asleep in the back seat.
Wow.
And I knew that day, like, okay, they're comfortable with me. They went to sleep. So
yeah,
I don't know. I always just felt like
mm-hmm.
I don't know what the word is. I just thought you guys were so well mannered, well spoken.
Yeah.
Just exceptional young men and really cute.
Wow. Do you remember didn't we go on a road trip like 10 hours?
Gosh.
No, it was
Florida,
more like 19.
18 hours.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, I didn't have a choice. It was
one of those things. Yeah.
But now I'm asking as a 27, why do we do that?
Yeah, it was like it was a bonding moment. We're gonna bond.
Thought it would be good.
So you guys planned it and we're like, this is gonna be.
It was on the way, but on the way back, we were all like,
me and Remy were
over each
done.
Oh my God! Then Casey came back with you guys. Oh my God! That was crazy.
Casey was just another friend.
I thought you like met someone on vacation and brought him back.
Oh no! Y'all low-key we did meet on vacation.
Yeah, they just met him.
We knew the family though, but. If I'm being honest, it was, in Casey, if you're ever watching this, I don't know if you ever watched it, it was the last person we wanted coming home with us. Only just because we just wanted to get home.
Yeah. Why was Casey coming home with you guys?
He just wanted to hang out.
He was one of our good friends. He's my best man. Yeah. He signed our license in marriage. So good friend. Really good friend. Okay. Yeah, and his kids came and, The
kids is Casey. Yeah.
Okay.
But, that was,
So this is the decision we made. Like, we're going to take this trip to Florida. We're going to drive to Florida. Because we had just did it, I think, a year before.
Disney.
The three of us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we flew to Disney. No, we went to Tampa.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah,
it was like a year before that. No, we flew to Disney. Yeah, the three of us hung out. Man, we had a lot of nice trips together. Yeah, we did. But no, we had driven to Florida a year before, and we became acquainted with that family. Yeah. Then after that, once we got married, we were like, you know what, we're gonna go there again, and this is gonna be a moment to bond. I think by the time we got to Ohio, we were so over
Not
it.
Ohio.
Okay, Tennessee.
You're like, okay,
Ohio does take a long time to get
God.
through.
It was a trip because we were doing karaoke, we were doing some everything, man. Yeah. And by the time, it was bad. Coming home, though, it was like, yo, look at some flights. Let's ship the car. It was bad.
My goodness. Yeah. Okay, first impression of Savannah. Go. I need to know. Yeah. This is for my sake. I
loved her from day one.
Well, because you guys are so similar too.
I knew that's the one.
Yeah.
I hoped she was the one. I would have been heartbroken if she wasn't. Oh. And I had always tried not to get too attached when you guys brought girls. And I'm like, when I met Sav, I was like,
how many girls did he bring?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's okay. I mean,
no.
Okay. I understand. How many
girls did he bring?
Because I felt that because people said that to her about me, like, yo, you still around? Like,
yeah, what do you mean?
What do you mean she's still around?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you must be special. No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's funny.
But I had always kind of put up like a guard, this could be whatever. But when I met Sav, I was like, I love her.
That's crazy.
That's how I felt too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like immediately. I just felt like it kind of like you were saying how like Dad felt like an old friend. Like it felt like I had already known you guys.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like I was just meeting you for the first time and I was like nervous. Like I just instantly felt comfortable.
Where'd you see them for the first time physically?
Chipotle, right?
Chipotle.
Yeah.
Chipotle. Like how ironic.
And what's so crazy is like that parking lot in Michigan now.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
we would go there.
We would go
Like,
there. Yeah. It was right up the street from Ride Swim Lessons, and we would just now. Yeah.
That's
It's
crazy.
iconic.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Dad, what was your first impression of?
I didn't. I was shocked.
Okay.
You know, I was like, oh.
When you first saw her in person or FaceTime or
FaceTime was like, yo, like
I don't remember that.
I remember that when you guys were at lunch.
I kinda
You guys were
remember
on lunch. You were at lunch, and we did a FaceTime. I called you. You're like, hey, Dad, we're at lunch right now. And you kind of flashed like, oh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's what's up. And I told Liz, I'm like, oh, he's dating someone.
Yeah.
A different color.
Yeah. Yes. You're right. Talk about it.
Yeah, for real. It's, and because of course we're far from
Right.
being racist or prejudiced.
Yeah, no.
Of the sort. But I was like shocked. I'm like, yo, okay, that's what's up.
Because it's like, for one, well, everyone knows. Yeah, I've never dated a white girl in my entire life. So that's nothing that you guys have ever known.
No,
or
not at
whatever. So I could see that. Like when Raella, like when she's dating, when she's like 50, and she's, I'm joking. I can't say that. She'll date. But when she's dating and let's say she's only dated white guys or whatever.
Yeah.
And then one day she just wants to date an Asian. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It'll be shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Only
just-
and
it's
not
just
because of the different ethnic. It's just because. Oh, yes, because of the different ethnicity, but
just because like it's not what you're used
You're
to.
bringing something different.
yes.
Yeah.
So I could see why it could be shocking for.
I never felt
that.
shocked.
Really?
I felt like when I met her, like when I felt her personality and her spirit, I knew she was a good match.
She always
for
so
you.
deep.
No,
right?
I'm not even.
I was like,
I'm not
yo,
even,
like, who is this?
No, I just knew Sav would like I had always prayed that someone, because you are so nurturing and like you care for everyone. And I was like, Josh needs someone who is going to take care of him.
Yeah.
Because he's always taking care of everyone.
That's good. You did say
And
that.
when I met her, I was like, yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I didn't want to, I'm like, don't say anything.
I will say this in Dad's defense, though, he's never been fond of the girls. Not that so that I've dated, but that the girls that I were in middle school and high school, mainly because they would try to flirt with him.
Yeah. Yeah. It was,
Like fully
Yeah.
try to flirt with. And he,
when I go to school.
no, like, what'd you say, Liz?
Didn't tell me that.
Well, they would just.
She would tell me to keep my coat on when I would go to games. You did though.
Well, yeah. So they would like not like, but like they would. I would hear an earful. Oh, Josh, your dad coming up to school? Like, is your dad?
That's gonna be you
What?
with Ryan Starling. Because you see your dad, like you guys like are brothers, and you're gonna look like this when you're. Anyways.
Yeah. No, it's possible.
Yeah, it's gonna be-
but
but
what's going to be your reaction if that happens?
If Ryan Starley's friends like you,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting.
You got time.
You're growing it, baby. You're growing it. That's good. You got that.
Yeah. So you were like always just like these little fast girls, like or whatever. So like, not that I would date any of them or whatever, but when you see like another, I have another girlfriend or whatever, you're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
But she was totally opposite. Yeah. And immediately, once I got over the shock, right? I literally looked at Sav as my daughter. I was like, this is our daughter.
Wow.
This is our daughter. And then learning some of the things we had in common,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is my daughter.
Yeah.
Like, for real, this is my daughter.
Oh yeah. Do you guys love cheese?
Yes. Amen.
Or you not love cheese, like you're connoisseurs of cheese.
I love
Like you,
cheese.
like
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of different.
But yeah, I just thought that she was, I thought she was great.
Yeah.
Really, I thought she'd be perfect for you.
What was your first impressions of Dad and Liz?
I already said.
You have?
Yeah.
What?
I just said, remember I was saying that I just felt like right at home.
Oh yes,
we
yes,
talked about
yes,
it.
yes.
Friends, yeah,
Okay, I was listening.
Yeah, no, I don't think you were,
I
but
was-
it's okay. Yeah, no worries.
A lot of people are curious, especially young adults, people who are our age, like honestly, like 20 and up, maybe even younger, whatever, 20 and up, people who are probably in college or living on their own, and they're looking for a church home, and they just want to find the right church. and they've either been like church hurt or they just feel like this church is not for me. I can't make a decision or whatever. A lot of people are curious, what are the what's the word?
What like makes up a
what should people look for when they're looking for a church?
What's the win?
Yeah, when they're looking for a church home.
So I think the pandemic changed church a lot. And I think churches are either trying to do it pre-pandemic the same way as always, or they're moving with the Spirit of God. And church now is not, you have to produce or people don't want it. There has to be a demonstration of God's love and his power. Yep. And I just think I would say go to a church where you feel loved and accepted.
Great.
And where they let the Holy Spirit flow.
Awesome.
Where there's not just a program and order of service that we follow and we can't go away from that.
Yeah. Dad, can you go the route of principles and if it's a Bible book like that, right? Because a lot of people are curious too.
Exactly
like,
where I was going.
What, like, yes, that I want to feel like that, you know, and I want to feel the community aspect. Like a lot of people are saying that, but also, what if the teachings are off? Like, how do you look for the right church with that from a pastor's perspective?
I think two things. The pandemic, I think a little opposite. I feel like the pandemic pulled out of people what was really in them.
Wow.
Like not wanting to go to church, right?
Being physically in church.
There.
Yeah,
we
were talking
you would
about
always
this.
hear more often than not, I ain't got to be at church to have a relationship with God. You know, I ain't got to go to church and hear this pandemic happen. It's like, yo, see, I don't have to be, right?
Right.
Which is, it's contrary to the scriptures. It says to forsake not yourselves from the assemblings of the righteous. So it does us good to be together, right? That community we're talking about. I believe this. I believe, you know, there are several things we look at when looking for a church. If you have a family, can my family be nurtured in this church?
Nurtured
spiritually fed.
Yep, great.
Can I grow spiritually? Can I grow spiritually? Can my spouse grow spiritually? Can my children grow spiritually?
That's really good.
Is this church relevant in truth, right? Has the gospel been watered down to where anything is acceptable, right? Anything goes. I believe that if the church, again, is preaching truth, without compromise. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. You can share the love of God without compromising the word, without taking the integrity of the word away. Mm-hmm. You know, you can preach with the conviction without taking the integrity of the word away. So you look for relevance, right? You look for people that are true, that are transparent. You know, some have suggested that I'm a little too transparent when I teach. I believe that.
What does that mean? A little too, like you?
I'll share my shortcomings.
Wow, yeah.
You know,
that's great.
Past Sunday, I talked about the season I went through being depressed, and nobody knew that I was fighting depression.
Yeah,
right. You know, so if I can be relatable to the people, if I can go to a church that the pastor is being relatable, you know what I'm saying? Not only is he telling me his struggles, but he's giving me keys to get out of them. That's a great church to be. A Bible-based church, a church that's going to challenge me to change.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And so many times in these, in the pursuit of looking for a church, we fall into the state of fear to make a decision. You know. So I believe you make a decision, you eradicate doubt, meaning get all of the naysayers, get all the people that would tell you not to go to this church, get all of eradicate all the doubt, whatever doubt there is, whatever questions you have, get that out the way, make a decision, create a work ethic and do, right? Eradicate doubt, make a decision, create a work ethic and do. Mm-hmm. The work ethic is I'm making a decision every day to get up, talk to my Heavenly Father, build a relationship with Him. So when I go to church, I don't have to deal with I don't have to deal with false teaching to learn that there was truth. Wow. I have a relationship already with God. So if something that's off, my spirit's going to bear witness.
Right.
So I'll fall away from that church. I'll fall back from that church.
You would know already.
But I look for a church that really bear witness with my spirit, that's going to challenge me to change. I don't want to be comfortable. If I'm, we don't talk about it, but if I'm sinning, I should feel convicted.
Great. Every time you go,
Every time I go to church.
or you hear a message or
I
something.
should.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
I am in the wrong, I should feel uncomfortable. Anyone that goes to the church and they feel comfortable in their sin, it's at the wrong church.
Okay, but here's the thing. So like, what do you say to like the people who, because like obviously like your church is a come as you are church, but I feel like people use that phrase very loosely and they can like pick and choose what that actually means or whatever. So you're saying like, you want them to, you shouldn't feel comfortable, but to a certain extent.
Well, if you're sinning, you should feel convicted.
There it is.
You should yes.
Feel welcomed.
Great.
We want you to feel welcome.
Great.
So I don't condemn when I preach. Okay. Condemnation is what Satan uses to crush us. Conviction is what God uses to draw us. Right? So my conviction, my teaching should convict you to want to get better, not beat you to get better. Makes sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
So there's a difference in condemnation and conviction. And I don't want to be that church. When we say come as you are, I really mean that. Come as you are, you won't leave as you were.
Right.
Great.
Come as you are, and we're going to love the hell out of you.
Love it.
We're going to love the hell out of you. We're going to love you to right. Period. You're not going to leave here doubting whether or not we love you. Our truth without love is brutality. Love without truth is hypocrisy. So if I'm telling you I love you, but I'm not telling you the truth, do I really love you? If I love you, I'm going to love you. I'm going to share the truth in love. Right, babe? Is that good? That's kind of where I am with it. Looking for a church that's full of the love of God. And the love of God is what draws you to repentance.
That's good.
I met a guy a few months ago since I've been in Portland. And he said, "Oh, Pastor, I heard about you from Detroit, yada, yada, yada." I said, "Come to church with me, man. Come visit." I don't do church.
That's what he said. Yeah.
He said, "I don't do church, man. Church, they've done me wrong in the past. I went for help and da-da-da-da." I said, "Yo, I don't do church either. I don't do religion. I do relationship with Jesus. The relationship is what's going to make the difference, not church. Church today is so not how it should be biblically. I promise you, if Jesus was to go to some of these churches, they wouldn't know who he was.
Wow.
He'd have to knock to get in.
Right.
Because they don't know who he is.
Right.
He don't know. He's like, Matthew 15 says this: "Your tradition has caused my word to be of none effect."
Wow.
Your tradition. God says your tradition is done it. Man's tradition. Yeah.
What is there anything fruitful about religion?
So religion is a ritual.
Okay.
It's something you do repetitively.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So communion.
Okay. There we go. Right.
There's something good from that. Right. Yeah. As often as you do this in remembrance of me. Right. Spending time with God daily. I challenge people to get up the first 8 minutes of their day, spend time with God. First 8 minutes, a minute to worship, a minute to pray, a minute to read your word, 5 minutes to listen.
Wow.
Your life will be transformed. That's a religious approach, right? So that's a good. There's good in tradition. God's traditions are wholesome and healthy. Man's tradition is what affects the walk with God and his effect, his approach. There's nowhere in scripture that says we got to wear ties. There's nowhere in scripture that says that women have to wear skirts. Yeah.
Where is in the Bible that say you can't wear a hat in church?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think there is anywhere in scripture.
Yeah, no, I was just asking.
Yeah, nowhere in scripture.
Or
I just get
pants.
Yeah.
Or leather pants. I get a lot of
Like,
that I
you
can't
wore
wear.
this to church, like.
Yeah. I taught life keys today in my gym attire with the cap on.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother topic, talking about religion and what's the name. But what else?
Okay, someone wants to know, what was the moment you knew you were called into such a like weighty, accountable position as like pastors?
Yeah.
Both of you guys, yeah.
So we were married for 10 months and then he got called to pastor.
Wow.
And I always knew he would be a pastor, but I felt like the timing I was not ready for that.
Right.
But I didn't want to crush what God was calling him.
Wow.
You couldn't crush me. You couldn't crush me.
I didn't want to crush you, but I just felt overwhelmed.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, like I came from being single to being married, a bonus mom, and now a pastor's wife, and it was a lot.
Yeah. What's your love language and what's your love language?
Here's our words of affirmation.
No. What's your love language?
We're supposed to say our
What's your love
own.
language?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, you can say that.
No, tell what yours is. No, I'm sorry. Go
You
ahead.
say what mine.
What's Liz's?
Really?
Yes, Josh.
No, hers is.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no,
yes,
it is your bad. But you know, her your love language is quality time. And it's quality time and gifts. No, act of service.
Acts of service.
Goes through all 7 of them.
You know what's crazy? I feel like mine was never acts of service. But since becoming a mom, I think that I should retake. I think it would be my number 1.
I agree, because you love like when I do like the little things
If you do something for me, like to go out of your way,
to
that's
make sure you're comfortable or whatever. Yeah.
Josh is like, he is the best. When you guys were dating, how he would film your, like, everything he was setting up. I was like, this young man is like next level. I love it.
So what's my love language?
Yours is words of affirmation, and
I know the second one.
gifts.
It's definitely gifts.
gifts.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
He likes acts
Everything.
of service too.
Acts of service. Okay. Okay.
He likes physical touch.
He likes all of them.
That's you. You like literally, you're all 5.
No. Okay. It changes. It definitely
It
changes.
really does,
You
Josh.
everyone has.
It really
like,
does.
each
What's
in
mine right now? You think?
Physical touch
Yeah.
and words of affirmation.
It's not words.
Physical touch is
Words of
number 1.
affirmation. I think maybe it is words of affirmation. Okay, yeah, it is. You're right. No, that's right. She's right.
She's right.
She's right.
And what is Sav's?
Sav, yours is
of
definitely
kindness.
acts of service, and is it quality time
I think so. Yeah.
with me or the girls, or like what's the quality time? Okay, I don't know. Like I don't know.
Yes, the girls, but like
Right.
you.
Okay. I don't know if it was like all family time or
I mean, I like family time, but like
me.
if we're talking like
Yes. Okay. All right.
I wanted to answer that question about ministry though.
Yes. What was it?
The weightiness.
Yes.
I knew at a young age, early on, that I would always say I would never preach. Then when I got called, I said, okay, if I were to preach, then I accept the calling. Then I said I would never pastor. I said if I ever pastor, it'll never be in Michigan. I start pastoring in Michigan, was pastoring 2 churches, right? But when I first knew that I was called to pastor I'll never forget, I was doing a conference in Memphis, 05. And I was called to do it then. I felt that weight.
Wow.
The transition happened 5 years later, 2010, right? So yeah, it was one of those things, man. I literally felt God say, I have given you the heart of a father. How did I know? So weighty, right? I've given you the heart of a father. I never forget, I was praying and prophesying over someone. I literally wept. And that's when the Lord says, I've given you the heart of a father. That was time for me to start pastoring, preparing to pastor. God told me October 2019, he says, your expiration date is coming. October of this year, 2019, will be your last year. You won't be pastoring in Michigan anymore. You'll pastor again, but it won't be in Michigan.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, man, where is this going? I took a back seat, went on sabbatical. And what really blessed me was when Liz said, I think a year before, if God were to lead you out of state, I'm ready to go.
Wow.
So we know the backdrop is she was from Jackson, close to her mom, close to the fam. I was like, wow, okay. So I kind of sat on it. And then she said it again after we went on sabbatical. It's like I felt like the Lord said to go on a sabbatical, and we just fell back for a year. And after the sabbatical, as the sabbatical was ending, we got a call, an email for Portland.
I think before we stopped the first church, we both felt like the grace lift.
That's good, babe.
Wow.
To do ministry.
Yes.
So we were just doing it out of
Perfunctory.
our own works.
Perfunctory.
And
What word is that?
Perfunctory.
I've
going through
never.
the-
Have you heard that word? Because
is it?
Savannah is she loves
Perfunctory.
words, girl.
I actually don't know if I've ever heard that word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
just going through the motions.
Nice.
You know? Yeah.
Because I think we're loyal.
Okay.
And we didn't want to give up on it. But we both
That's
felt
good, babe. Because 2018, towards 2018, beginning of 2019, I was just having good ideas. I no longer had vision for the church. So good. That was good. The grace.
Yeah, but we both felt the grace lift, and immediately we were burned out.
Wow.
We were doing ministry, but we were doing it on fumes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we did that probably for 8 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we have a lot of compassion. We have an eye for seeing burnt people who are burnt out in ministry. We can see it right away because we've both been there.
Yeah.
And just knowing when God shifts, how to go with him.
Yeah.
How to take your hands off of something that he's saying. I mean, and it can be something that you have an affection for, but he can say it's time to walk away. And that was really tough for me.
That's crazy. And you guys have never lived in another state?
Nope.
Never. Well, you were born in Georgia.
Born in Georgia.
But
yeah.
for you to up and leave
Yeah.
for the first time in forever,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
That was crazy. That was crazy because, you know, I never thought Portland for one, you know.
Same.
Yeah, Portland was not on the radar at all. I told God this, Josh. I said, I will pastor for you again, but it must be somewhere warm and tropical. That's what I told God. He says, okay,
I'll give you
You'll
tropical.
to Portland.
Right.
And, you know, yeah, so that's how we end up here, man, just hearing God's voice.
Okay, so I have personally struggled, as you guys know, like with just like specifically postpartum, like depression and anxiety, but even like before that, I've also struggled in the past. So someone wants to know, do we as Christians believe anxiety is a spiritual issue or is it a scientifically / medical issue?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, great question. Great question. I believe, you want to go first, babe?
No, I can. It doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
I would say from a woman's perspective, after having a child, I think that it can be physical. It can be like your chemical, chemical imbalance, hormonal imbalance. I do think it can be spiritual in some cases, but after experiencing pregnancy and postpartum, just on a small scale, I never understood that before. But after I had Lydia, I got a glimpse of what that is, and I spoke to my doctor, and she just said your hormones are trying to readjust.
Right.
And so it was like, okay, just give myself some time.
Right.
But I do think it can be spiritual as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
so too.
Yeah, it's both. It is both for sure. You know, I think the fear of acknowledging it is the fact that we'll be demonized for it, right? It's a reality. Excuse me. It's a truth. Yeah. It is both spiritual and natural, you know, in a nutshell. You know, I think it becomes spiritual when it's denial. You're denying that you're dealing with something. Would you say that? You know, you're not owning it. You're thinking if it's mind over matter, I'll ignore it, I'll reject it, and then then it starts getting to your spirit, man, and then ultimately causes our spiritual warfare, if you will. So it's definitely both.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if you address it, see, the science is here to confirm the truth, the word. It's not to go against each other. It's to work with each other. So if there is something physically happening to you, it's also something spiritual that's happening towards you as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I just believe things that we get out into the light, the enemy can't torment us with. If we tell people we love and just get support that we need, then he can't take us deeper into that.
That's
thing.
right.
What's you guys' thoughts on tattoos?
I'm okay with them.
Yeah.
I'm actually I've been really thinking about getting one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really have. So I'm for it. You know, I don't believe it's a sin.
Yeah.
I really don't. I know what the scripture says. I think it's Leviticus, you know, but you got to deal with the context of it.
Yeah.
You know, the pericope of that text.
Pericope.
You can't the original part
I've
of the
never
text.
heard of that one either.
You can't just say something that's going to feed your perspective.
Great.
In other words, like
if you're going in with the mentality of that it doesn't,
that it's
it's
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah. And here's what I've come to learn. I ain't saying this from the Bible. It's just observation of people.
Yeah.
People that demonize something is something that they're struggling with, something they wish they could do,
Right.
something they desire to do. It's relative, but for the most part, such as that, it really just it depends on the person.
Yeah.
You know, it really does depend on the person. I don't think it's a sin. I haven't been convicted upon it. You know, it's not a sin.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, babe?
I almost got one when I was 16.
16?
Yes, and I didn't get it because I thought, when I get 40, am I still going to like what I choose at 16?
Wow.
That's good.
So, and then I come from a family where I didn't see anyone with tattoos.
Same.
Right.
I don't really think it's wrong. It's personal preference for me.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question. This is for all the people who are a part of ministry. And Liz, I want you can start this one because they're literally. Oh, also, by the way, Liz is a worship leader. She sings. Did we say that she sings?
I don't think we did.
You
We
did
were
not.
just all on the instruments.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, at church on Sunday, I realized I've never seen you lead.
Oh, yeah.
I was
She said
like,
that.
This is so amazing. Like, it was just, because I've only ever seen you play the violin that one time. Like, I've like heard you obviously, but like in real life, like it was just so different. But anyways.
So Liz, what do you do when it starts to feel like a job? This person is a worship leader and she hates that. She hates that if she feels like that sometimes.
I would say I kind of check if I am spending time with God, like off the stage, because life gets busy, you know, and you can kind of start neglecting your relationship with God. And so when I feel burnout, it's like my cell phone. When it gets low, I charge it. So I just try to plug back into God and let him recharge me. So because I can't give from an empty place.
Right.
I have to be full to give what he's, and then when I first started leading worship, I was so self-conscious. Like every note had to be perfect pitch, every word right. And now I just realized that I'm an instrument and I just let him sing through me. Yeah. And so it's like sometimes I'm on stage and I'm observing with everyone else, like what he's doing, like, whoa.
Wow,
okay.
that's great. Yeah.
And I love being in that place because it just, it takes the pressure off me to be perfect. Because I think we should do it in excellence, but perfection can kind of etch God out of it. So.
Right.
Dad, in your years of ministry, has it ever felt like a job?
Yeah,
really,
it has.
Wow.
It really has. It's one of those things when you start, we talk about burnout, right? When you don't have the proper support around you, you start taking on the different roles within the church. And one of the things when I really feel it is when I stand in the role of a boss. You know, I have to fire someone, you know, that's when it becomes like a job, you know, or if I'm looking for, this is good for me, when I'm looking for a sermon, when I'm preparing a sermon, not a word from the Lord, but a sermon,
Right.
A speech I'm preparing, that's when it feels like a job to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I got to go get my commentaries. I got to research this. Go to God.
Right.
Pray for a word from the Lord.
Right.
Now, that doesn't take away your assignment to prepare it, right?
Yeah.
But you're putting God first. You know, so the moments of preparing a sermon and having to deal with someone from a boss perspective, it makes it feel like a job, and I hate it. And the way that I get through that is definitely going to my secret place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been praying.
I have a question. I feel like I get asked this a lot, like in my people like message me and stuff. What would be your advice to like a new believer, or if they aren't even kind of sure what they believe and they just know they want to like grow stronger in their faith? Like where to start?
Yeah.
I'm in a series right now in Bible study, Life Keys, Becoming What You Believe.
Wow.
The book of James is an excellent book. It gives you
start there.
The book of James.
Yeah.
It gives you a complete outline of how you should function as a believer, a new believer.
Yeah.
Or a person has been in church but never had the experience of why do you believe in Jesus?
Great.
Why do you really believe in what you believe? Why do you go to church?
Right.
For what reason? Is it because your parents said it? Is it just to get people in leadership off of your back so they won't ask why, where were you Sunday?
Right.
The book of James is a great book. From James, you go to Romans. That's a great place to start. What do you say, Bay?
I would say worship.
Good.
But if they don't know worship.
Worship for me, like since we moved out here, worship for me has taken on another form. Like when I look at Mount Hood, that's worship. I can go into a place of worship looking at the ocean.
Yeah.
Looking at a tree, looking at a baby. And I think just like looking at something and saying, God made that.
God made it.
Yeah.
Like this thing is great, but the person that made it is greater.
That's awesome.
That's good,
and I
babe.
think all of us have the ability, no matter what our Bible knowledge is, we all have the ability to look at something we appreciate and say, wow, that's amazing.
That's really good.
Because it's like, do you remember when we had one of our first ultrasounds? And we were living in Dallas, and the ultrasound tech was ironically a believer. And she
said something, and we were like,
she's like, oh yeah, are you a believer? Yeah. And she said we saw Rye. This was when Rye, she saw Rye when we saw Rye for the first time. She was like, how can anyone not believe that part? That God is real or whatever. And
I don't get it.
I don't get it. And that's just like to what you were saying. Like we see certain things and like y'all just think that just got there. Like or y'all just like God is so specific and with everything that he does. And it's amazing.
Yeah. The Big Bang Theory, the evolution, when you think about a bang, what happens? Chaos.
Right.
Destruction.
Wow.
Disruption.
Wow.
So no, we didn't evolve into, creation. God did this. So yeah, I'm with her. How can you equate this to a bang?
Something else.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
This conversation can go so.
I feel like I could ask like a million.
I know. Yeah. Thank you guys. This was definitely necessary and needed. I know a lot of people were very eager to have you guys on the podcast, and it's so fun. We have to have all of our family on the podcast now. Like we've been wanting to do this for a while, but now let's get everybody a little mixture. Dad, do you remember the story of me putting my arm behind my back at the free throw line and shooting a one-hand free throw?
I tell it all the time.
We told it on the last podcast, so we don't have to tell it anymore. But what was your point of view when you took me to the track and I had to run in the cold at nighttime?
Yeah. Sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Let's keep the main thing, right? It's a team effort.
Yeah.
Don't think because you got the team back in a winning position that you did this. The pride, the arrogance, the ego at this young age. You're like this ego, like the nerve. Like, no, we will not do this. Not to mention I'm the coach and everybody looking at me like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Imagine if we would have lost that game.
Oh my God, that's the part. That's the part.
I would.
Thank God you won.
Yeah, if we would have lost, I like
put one hand behind his back. I'm like, what in the world? I'm so glad you shared that. I'm so glad you shared that because people probably think I was making that up.
No, that is a real story.
That's crazy.
Savannah cracks up about
it's
it.
Just so funny.
So
like
she's known
crazy.
about it
In
for
your head,
years.
you were like, Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I'm gonna do it. Yeah,
that's good. That's good. That's gonna be good.
Calculated this.
And
you did it.
Airballed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if you remembered that story.
Very well. I remember it like yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, it was clear, man. Like, geez, what were you thinking?
I have not a clue.
Yeah, me either.
And I do it again. No, I wouldn't.
I pulled up. I'll never forget. I pulled up to that school, man, and I got out, and Remington was livid at me. So he got out with him. We're making him do it. He went out with him and did it. I'm like, yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, that's sweet.
The cool thing that, and I'm sure you can agree with this, you guys never just got the spot because I was the father.
That's what I was telling Savannah. Like, you were always, and you were harder on us than everyone else.
That's good.
Even though, like, me and Remy were, 8 times out of 10, we were like the best players on the team. Like, it was just skill wise, but we had to earn every single position. And
that's funny.
Yeah, we've been talking lately. Like, what if Rye wants to do sports and stuff? And
can't even like wrap my head around it.
Yeah,
it's so crazy to think about.
Yeah, Liddy made me.
Come here, Liddy Beer.
Liddy had me dusting off my coaching skills.
Really,
Josh? She's got game. She really does.
Basketball?
Yes, she know how to drop a dime. Yeah, she really does.
You guys, this is where you got to come in this camera right here. This is my little sister, Lydia. You guys have probably seen her on my stories or whatever. How old are you?
7.
7, and it's really late. And you're just hanging out with us. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Are you happy that we moved here?
Yeah.
This is Rye's best friend.
Yes.
Like her and Rye, like Rye speaks. She speaks some English, but
she speaks English.
Well, I'm just saying she don't be. No one knows what she's saying, but Liddy understands everything that she's saying, and she's always having the best time. But I promised you that you'll be on the podcast. So, is there anything encouraging you want to say to everybody?
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
I want to say that thank you everybody for watching this video.
Oh,
that's so sweet. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Dad. This was a treat, and we'll see you guys next week. We have a special guest next week as well. Y'all comment down below, guess who y'all think it is. But
I was like, I don't even know who it is.
Oh, okay. It's out. Always do it.
I'll guess too.
Right. All right. We love you guys. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.